Done.
Love it.
So guys, you should be really proud of yourself for making this gorgeous vanilla yogurt panna cotta with raspberry jelly and pistachio tuile. Today we're going to be making a vanilla yogurt panna cotta with a raspberry jelly and a pistachio tuile.
So what are we going to make first, panna cotta or jelly?
We're going to make the jelly.
Okay.
So to make a jelly, we obviously need gelatin. So we've got gold gelatin leaves here.
And gold gelatin is one of the strongest, which is really good. And you get powdered gelatin as well. So that gets soaked in cold water. So guys, you're going to grab your gelatin and stick it into your cold water so it's nice and soft.
Just make sure they're all submerged and let that soak.
What you want is the gelatin to go nice and soft and pliable so that it actually melts into the jelly. That's the whole idea.
Yep. Now we're going to make the raspberry infusion.
Yep.
So we've got fresh raspberries. That's 150 grams. And then next, 100 mils of water.
Pour it on top.
Yep. Next is 30 grams of caster sugar. Got it, guys? Easy? Okay, what we want to do is actually pop this over the double boiler, and what we're doing is actually making a raspberry infusion. So we want to infuse that water with the raspberries, and then later we're going to add the gelatin. So your water shouldn't be boiling feverishly, it should just be simmering on a medium heat.
Brilliant. So what that does is it just allows the raspberries to infuse with the sugar and take all that flavour from the raspberries into the jelly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's easy.
Now you want the mixture to be sitting on here for about 3 to 4 minutes, and the sugar would have dissolved and the liquid will start to go a bit pink.
Okay, fantastic. So what's next? The jelly's on the go, and then we're going to pop those into little moulds?
Dairy moulds.
Okay, beautiful. And these are handy little things. So what we're going to do is then pop the jelly and the raspberries in the bottom.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Has everybody got their dairy-alls? Yeah?
So guys, you want to agitate it a little bit, but very, very gently, because we don't want to destroy any of the whole raspberries because we want to use them for the bottom of the mould.
And you can see the colour starting to come out already and the sugar's dissolving, so I bet that tastes beautiful.
Smells gorgeous, doesn't it? Okay, guys, is your infusion looking really nice and pink? Yeah. Yeah, and you can smell the raspberries. That's good. Now, we're going to add the gelatin into that mixture. So, when you pick a gelatin up, it should be this sort of really wobbly...
Nice and squidgy and soft.
Whoops.
That's good.
And you want to squeeze as much water as you can out of it.
And you want to do that because otherwise you end up with more liquid in your jelly.
Yeah, and it's going to dilute the beautiful raspberry mixture that you've got there.
So everybody squeezing their gelatin?
Yeah.
That's it? Great.
And what you want to do is stir it really gently again and make sure that all that gelatin is beautifully dissolved.
That's dissolved instantly. That's gorgeous. So everybody, you can turn your stoves off now because you've made the jelly. Now, with your gloves on, take your bowl off. And what we want to do is spoon 4 raspberries into each of the dairy moulds. Now, the idea is we want to see the whole fruit when we turn it out, so be really nice and gentle. And then what you want to do is spoon 2 teaspoons of the liquid over the raspberries. So 2 teaspoons of liquid. That's it. Brilliant. Obviously, as that cools down, that'll set really quickly in the fridge, about 20 minutes. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to put these into... Well, because we're glamorous here in the MasterChef kitchen, we've got a blast chiller, so we're going to do that for 5 minutes in blast chiller. Okay. But if you're doing it at home, you'd probably just leave it in the fridge for like, I don't know... 20 minutes, I reckon, we'll set it. Next, we're going to do the panna cotta, and that's the easiest thing to make. First step, again, the gelatin. So soak that in water. That's 3 gelatin leaves. And often panna cottas don't have gelatin in, do they? Because panna cotta just means cooked cream. Yes. But if you want it to be like a little bit wobbly, like ours is going to be, then you need a couple of leaves of gelatin. And then we're going to heat the cream. Has everyone got their pot on the stove? Turn it to about a 7, which is a medium heat. And then pour 375 mils of cream in. Beautiful. Next is your 45 grams of icing sugar. And that's just to sweeten? Yep. And also just balance the top and the bottom. So, you know, the top's a bit sweet. You can probably afford to not have as much sugar on the bottom. Beautiful. How long will that take to warm up? What do you think? 3 to 4 minutes? Yeah, 3 to 4 minutes I think will be good. And that'll allow the sugar to dissolve and that natural sweetness to come through. Guys, you're going okay? None of your cream's boiling? It's looking all right? So as soon as you've got to that point, you can just move your pot off the heat, and then I think we're going to add the gelatin, is that right? Yeah. Again, same process. Grab your gelatin and give it a nice thorough squeeze. Get rid of all the liquid. So basically you've put the gelatin into the cream and you're just stirring it, and it's nice and warm, you can see, and that just dissolves any of the lumps of the gelatin. That's great. Easy. And that's all it is, in essence, isn't it? Yeah. A cooked cream. That's done. Beautiful. So what's next? Just transfer your pot onto the bench. Yep.
I've got 180 grams of full-fat yogurt here.
Everybody got a whisk? Just whisk it in.
And again, we really just want to incorporate the yogurt. You don't want to whisk it to incorporate too much air because when it sets, you're going to get all little bubbles. And you want it to be really smooth, so you don't want bubbles.
OK. So yogurt's in. What's next? In.
And then just a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. We can use a vanilla pod if you want, of course. So this is the stage where you can infuse flavours into the panna cotta. I've done a lime one before.
Oh, yeah. I love things like rosewater or elderflower because that's lovely.
Yeah,
or lavender.
Really subtle. Lavender. I just made a lavender ice cream recently.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So it's done. Now you want this mixture to cool down because you don't want to pour it into the dariel moulds with the jelly which set because you'll actually melt that again. So you want this to cool thoroughly before you pour it in.
So you want those two separate layers, otherwise it'll all just blend together.
Yes.
OK. Who's dipped their finger in? Yay! Go on, dip your finger in, have a taste. That's what it's all about.
Gary, this is really nice and cool now. So we're ready to pour into the dariel moulds.
Yeah, OK. So I'll grab them out of the chiller.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Look at that.
They look...
They've set.
Perfect.
And when you touch your jellies, you can feel they're just set on the top. It's
Don't
lovely.
punch your finger through it, just touch it, OK?
So then we're going to pour the cool panna cotta mixture on top of the jelly, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
About there?
So you get about 3/4 of the way up to the top, and then you get that lovely division between jelly and that creamy panna cotta. Look at that. I want the creamy mixture.
Yeah.
So can you see that, guys? Look at that. So you got that lovely two-tone panna cotta and raspberry jelly. So easy, isn't it? But it looks so beautiful. So these now go into the fridge or the blast chiller.
Yep.
Just to set that gelatin in the panna cotta. How long do you think that'll take?
I think in a regular fridge, give it 3 to 4 hours for a good set. But with the blast chiller, 5 minutes in there and then maybe 2 hours.
Brilliant. The pistachio tuile. So how are we going to make that?
This is really, really simple. The first thing we put in is 65 grams of icing sugar, 65 grams of plain flour, and then we just sift it.
And that just gets all the lumps out.
So Tuile biscuit is a really, really simple dessert biscuit that you can pair with lots of things, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a great little recipe to learn because everybody thinks it's really hard, but in fact it's not, is it?
No, it's what you do with it. So you can bend it into interesting shapes. Yeah. So that's beautiful.
All right, and then next it goes into a food blender, right?
Or you can just use a hand mixer if you've got that at home.
Brilliant.
And then we just plonk softened butter.
65 grams of butter?
Yep. And 2 egg whites.
OK. Brilliant.
And then... How simple is that?
Love it.
You could do that blindfolded.
That is amazing. So basically give it a good old mix until it's incorporated. The butter's nice and soft. You get this pasty. Show them the pastiness. So you get that lovely stuff. You know what's really delicious about this? It tastes great raw.
You're going to do that.
It tastes good. OK, so what's next?
We're going to get a piece of acetate. So that's just a piece of plastic with a circle cut out of it, and we're going to use that as a stencil. Going to pop that on baking paper. Yep,
now you've all got one of these, so lay your paper out onto your trays, and you've all got a little bit of the tuile or the biscuit mixture, and we'll make a couple.
Now, we don't want to just plonk a tuile right in the middle. We want to try and make 2, so sort of push it to 1/2 of the tray. Got that? OK, now just get a little scoop of the mixture, and what you want to do is smear it over that circle, but quite thinly. I would say about a mil.
A mil thick.
A mil thick.
There you go. Look at that. That's perfect, isn't it? Nice mixture.
Yeah.
How about you, Mark? Have you got some good circles up there?
I've got some great circles.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
Fantastic. So once you've done the first one, do another one on the other side.
Number 2, beautiful.
Now, the next step is to sprinkle your chopped pistachios on top. And that's going to add a beautiful bit of colour and also some crunch and some beautiful flavour that will go really well with the yoghurt.
They're so delicate, these biscuits. I love them.
Yeah, you can do so many things with them.
Brilliant. So, Po, how long did these go into the oven for?
For 160 for 5 minutes.
OK, beautiful. And how do you know that they're cooked?
You just want a little bit of a frill of brown around the outside. If it's brown all the way through, it's overcooked and you're going to have trouble shaping it.
Brilliant.
So, got your gloves on, guys?
Anybody got any questions? Georgia?
Can you flavour the tuile with anything else besides pistachios?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you think of anything?
Yeah, my brain immediately goes to chocolate. So cocoa in the tuile mix. You can just
Great
add a bit
idea.
of cocoa. Yep.
Yeah, you can do coconut tuiles or hazelnut tuiles. You know, pistachio are great. I love pistachio. Should we have a quick check of these little tuiles and see
definitely.
if they're starting to go brown? Because they look like they're just changing colour. Ooh, they're nearly done, aren't they?
I think they are
In fact,
done.
they are done. Look at
you
that.
go.
That's perfect. So what are we doing?
We need to lift it.
Are they hot?
No, they're not actually. We're going to put one that way with the nuts facing up, and the other one we're going to fold the other way, so with the nuts facing down.
Cool. So are yours starting to go golden brown now?
Yep, you're ready. Put it out.
Oh, look at that. That one's perfect. That one needs a little bit longer.
This one's okay. So you got one curved one and one flat one. That's fine. But this
So how quick and easy was that?
Very good.
And we've got a whole other element to the dessert. Gary, don't
So
they look beautiful?
panna cottas are ready.
Yeah.
The tuiles, the biscuits are ready, and these look absolutely special. They're so
gorgeous,
delicate
aren't
and
they?
lovely. So how are we going to plate this up then?
We've got a little pan of simmering water here.
Guys, just be very careful because you're dealing with hot water. It's not boiling, but it'll still burn, OK? So you just got to drop that in very gently and count to a slow 3 and then lift it out. And then remember, we've got to release the vacuum or the air. I'm going to go and help kids.
Okay. Now, what we need to do is when you take it out of the pot, get your knife, be really, really careful, and just slide it down the side of the Dariole mould. And what you want to do is release the side so that a little air pocket begins to appear, and that will creep all the way to the bottom of the mould.
start here on the top. Just run it around there.
Oh,
You see how it opens up the air pocket there?
yeah.
That's what you want to do, okay?
Then what you've got to do, you just got to release it underneath there.
Stuck, is it? It doesn't want to come out.
And then you want to just keep squeezing the mould and easing that panna cotta out. And you'll find that it will begin to release itself. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
And I love the jelly.
You
We can
lost
try
your
another
jelly.
one.
Let's try the other one.
Tip that and see what happens.
Okay, so on one side of your plate, you should have one beautiful, turned out, glossy panna cotta. And then on the other side, we're going to use our tuile. And you can just arrange those attractively on the plate. And then just arrange your few raspberries around the place.
Gorgeous. And I love the raspberries. They look so beautiful. And you get that nice contrast between the fresh raspberries and the little steeped and jellied ones.
Done.
Love it.
So guys, you should be really proud of yourself for making this gorgeous vanilla yogurt panna cotta with raspberry jelly and pistachio tuile. Well done.
Well done, guys. Good job. Give yourself a round of applause. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.